What is up, YouTube? It's Kingfisher745, and I've received quite a few requests on how to beat the Warriors 3 heroic battle. Since it is quite long, we're jumping right into the action. And first of all, Heimdall always seems to go first. His turn is then followed by all of the Warriors 3. Now their turn order can change, but I'll show you what I do with each one of them. First, with Fandral, I go ahead and attack Thor. So I hit him with a single target attack, and then I gain tactical maneuvers. For Fandral's second action, I like to use his Flynning Circus. The reason I want to use Flynning Circus is because it puts bleeding ×3 on all of the opponents. They take multiple actions per round, and also sometimes gain extra attacks. So having that bleed ×3 is going to cause quite a bit of damage to them. Next, with Hogan, since his level 2 starts cooled down, I go ahead and use Elixir of Recovery. The reason I do this is because all the other Warriors 3 drink as well, and they give their buffs to the rest of the team. So now we all have Skirmisher, Disengage, and also Cast Iron Stomach. Lastly, with Volstag's turn, I use Guard the Rear, so now he's going to protect us, and also grant the team Covered. By the way, Covered causes all the Warriors 3 to take 50% damage from all attacks. That's quite a decrease, and I actually want to try them out in a few PvP combinations as soon as I level them up further. Now as far as their Elixir of Recovery buffs, Cast Iron Stomach says taking reduced damage from damage over time effects. Disengage says taking reduced damage from counter and follow-up attacks. And lastly, Skirmisher says increases damage dealt by counterattacks and follow-up attacks. So you can see how all of this will come in handy throughout this battle. Also, Volstagg is a pretty good tank because of Life of the Party. He has a chance to use Elixir of Recovery when attacked. Then there's the other benefit of having all that bleed on the opponent. Volstagg gains another buff from Guard the Rear called Man in the Middle. This will consume a well-fed to counter attacks. When he counters, he'll use his first ability, Splitting Headache, and this has Hemorrhaging Attack. This causes all stacks of bleeding to trigger. Now this fight's difficulty can change depending on how often you get procs like Life of the Party. It also can be a problem if they do some really high crits, because they can sometimes take out Volstagg in that first round. Then there's another really huge pain in the next wave, and that's the Enchantress. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Of course, to even do this battle you need to have Fandral, so you will want to have him on a pretty decent level, at least level 9. That is, if you want to use his Flynning Circus. The other two are both team-ups, so you don't need to have them. This battle is pretty cool though, because you can get E-ISO for all three. Right now we're about to finish Sif with his Splitting Headache, because of all that bleed and hemorrhage. Truthfully, Heimdall can be pretty scary, but we do get a Witty Retort, and that causes distraction. That's a really lucky proc because that Ho-Fun can do quite a bit of damage. Also, our opponents keep continuing to hurt themselves from bleed. In fact, even when they gain coordinated attack, they're going to just hurt themselves with some more bleed. So at this point, Thor is almost KO'd, and we just have to focus on Heimdall. Oh, and it's always awesome when Hogan pulls out his bow, and Heimdall takes an arrow to the knee. With his second attack, we proc Witty Retort once again. Too bad it can't save us again because there's that major damage from a Ho-Fun. That's probably the most serious threat in this first round. The fact that Heimdall can do so much damage to Volstagg. Luckily, we did make it through the round, and now it's going to be the Warriors 3 turn. First, I should have used a single target attack on Thor, but I did make a mistake and used On Guard instead. I guess I thought that maybe he would bleed out, and then I got worried that he might get an attack off instead. So I do end up wasting a turn, but at least I saved that level 2. We're going to use that in the next wave. With Volstagg, I'm going to use an Axarang, and then hopefully we survive Heimdall's next turns. It does a decent amount of damage because it does exploit bleed. And then we get a lucky arrowed proc, and that does quite a bit of damage as well. So the enemy's first move is going to be to use Vigilance, and then we should hit him with a Riposte because of On Guard. Hopefully this will be enough damage to KO Heimdall and go to the next wave. Okay, so I wasn't sure if I should cut out this dialogue, because this fight does tend to run really long. But instead, I'll use it to talk about what's gone wrong with this second wave. The first few times I beat this battle, it was really fun and the dialogue is awesome, and it's just a pretty amazing heroic. But at some point, and I don't know if it was after the covert ops or not, Enchantress started kind of bugging. And I don't know how else to put it, but it seems like a bug. Regardless of how charming Enchantress is supposed to be or whatever, she just stops attacks from launching, and depending on your luck, it can make the second wave and this entire battle so long and tedious, it saps the fun right out of it. So truthfully, that's why I avoided doing this heroic battle in a video. I think I had some 20-minute plus fights where I eliminated all the enemies and just had Enchantress left. And even if you just used Elixir of Recovery, removing all of your debuffs, you would still run into the same problem. Hopefully you get to see what I mean later in this battle. Regardless, for these reasons you may want to actually take out Enchantress first. Damage-wise, this wave won't be nearly as hard as the first one. It's all the debuffs that you need to worry about. Vandrill's ability to depower someone does come in handy. Also, you should gain some counterattacks in this one as well. Unfortunately, Enchantress is immune to bleeding. I just wanted to throw that out there because I do hate her so much in this battle. I should have mentioned this earlier, but hopefully you all know it is found in Season 1, Chapter 2, Mission 6. So that's right, it's the first Season 1 heroic battle. Like I said, it does have 3 E-ISO, 1 for each of the Warriors 3. Those are always my favorite heroics because you have a 33% chance at one. Now right after Loki's turn, it's finally going to be our chance to attack. We do miss with our Riposte, and then we're hit with a Lightning Spire. This should cause a couple counterattacks, and he's actually finished by the first. So now with Vandrill's turn, let's see which abilities are back. Okay, he has access to every single one. So this is kind of a tough call, but I'm going to use Elixir of Recovery. This should remove all our debuffs, and we're going to gain health, stamina, and some benefits. Next, with Hogan, I can use his level 2 as a quick action, and that's because we saved it for this round. So first, Overwhelming Presence, and that's going to put a few key debuffs on the opponent, mainly flanked. Next, I want to use his level 9 on Enchantress. We have 0 debuffs, and she has no special buff, yet there goes our attack, nothing happens. Now this really gets annoying because it happens all the time, over and over again. It can really extend the battle, and it gets so frustrating. Now I have to say I haven't played it in quite a while because Volstagg has been leveling, but let me know what your experience is with this one. I keep hearing how amazing this battle is, and it certainly was before this started happening. But look at that, even our level 9 was stopped, so even our AoE attack, nothing launches, nothing happens, and no text pops up. But the good news is we are going to counterattack Executioner, and that will finish him off. So it's all the Warriors 3 versus the Enchantress. It looks like first she's going to use a magic missile on Volstagg, and then there's that annoying weakened resolve. But we do get a counterattack and it works. Next I'm going to use a Meteor Smash from Hogan. She is still flanked, so we will do a follow-up with his Windup Swing. It's a decent amount of damage, but it could be a lot better. Next up it's going to be Volstagg's turn once again. Oh, but of course she does have combat reflexes, so we do have to worry about that. On top of not being able to attack her most of the time. So here comes an Axarang, or should I say here doesn't come one. Even though she has 4,200 health left, this is going to take a while. At this point it's really just landing an attack, which isn't easy to do. So battle-wise, there's not that much to talk about, so I'll just go ahead and focus on Volstagg. So far I like him, he's going to be a level 8 really soon. I want to try him out with some characters like Emma Frost, of course the Warriors 3, and then certainly some bleed characters as well. I wasn't able to play that much over the weekend, so I'm still working on the tankards. I believe I have something like 74. But making my agent an honorary Warriors 3 member is going to be pretty interesting. But I do have plans to use that with characters other than the Warriors 3 as well. So we'll have to see how that one goes. As far as the group boss Enchantress here, we're beating her slowly but surely. She's apparently the greatest villain of all times as we've seen in this battle and in the Sif heroic. That's apparently a little known fact that slipped my attention. Right now she's putting a ton of debuffs on us, but I do believe we're going to have Elixir of Recovery available once again. Right after we get to use that, we should be removing all our debuffs, and then we'll be healing as well. Okay, so I won't even hesitate, I'm just going to use it on Fandrill's turn. And then of course, like always, all the Warriors 3 will drink. Then I'm really hoping that Hogan and Volstagg can KO Enchantress in this round. I actually have had fights go a lot longer though, like I mentioned. But for my sanity, I'm hoping to get this one done. Hogan's going to use his Meteor Smash, and then we should get a follow-up attack as well. I would really hope that that would be enough damage. But instead, nothing happens, and now it's going to be Volstagg's turn. I use a Splitting Headache because at this point it seems like they really hate our ultimate moves. So rather than having another level 9 become completely unresponsive, I just use a Splitting Headache, and we finally win. So that's going to be it for this video, and I do hope it helped those of you who still needed it. But either way, I do hope it was enjoyable, and I want to thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and until next time, good luck, and take care.